Good morning, I'm Adam Sexton. Just about a week to go until the 2018 midterm elections, so let's jump right in. Our first guest is the Democratic candidate for governor, Molly Kelly. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Adam.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
So you said you want to do more for the people in need in New Hampshire, but what about those middle-class folks who are doing relatively well right now? They have jobs, they own homes, they pay taxes. We assume they have health insurance, maybe they have access to paid family leave, perhaps they like the school that their kids go to. In short, things are good. Why should they vote for change in the corner office? Well,
Adam, I want to build a New Hampshire that works for everyone, and not just a few. And I do not believe that the economy is working for everyone. You know, we have college students here in New Hampshire who are paying the highest tuition in the country. They have the highest debt in our country. It's not working for them. And as governor, I want to make college affordable and to make sure that our young people stay here. Businesses are crying out every day for an educated and a prepared workforce. And I want to work with them and connect them with education and our college students to make sure our students do stay and that the businesses, whether it's in manufacturing, finance, or healthcare, receive and have the workers that they need, and that the people here in New Hampshire, all the people in New Hampshire, have an opportunity to succeed.
You mentioned the affordability of college there. Is there anything you could do as governor that would involve cuts to, say, administration, sabbaticals, that would chip away at that massive amount of the cost of a college education?
Well, the first thing that we need to do is that we need to have a governor who has a vision and believes in the importance of educating our young people and keeping them here. So we do need to lower the tuition, and we also need to expand our student loan repayment program so that students understand that they have a governor who wants them to be here, to stay here, and understands that what value they bring to our state. We cannot move forward with an innovative or a creative, and in particular, the most important, a sustainable economy, if we do not invest in our young people, in our colleges, and our community colleges as well, and many of the trades here in New Hampshire.
Can you give us some details of how your paid family leave plan would work, sort of where the money comes from, where it goes to within state government, and then how it gets dispersed?
Well, first of all, I just want to make sure that people understand what, excuse me, what paid family medical leave is really all about, Adam. And it is about being with the people that you love the most and that you care the most about when they need you the most. The bill that was in the House passed the House 3 times and was scrutinized and vetted, and then when it came to the Senate, my opponent, Chris Sununu, opposed it, stopped it, and so we are now left with many working families who are disappointed. They're crying out. They're asking me to move forward with paid family medical leave. And then our governor called paid family leave a vacation. Adam, it's not a vacation. It is about being with a newborn, or it's about being with your elderly parents if they're ill, and it's also about being with your children when they're in a crisis, and not have to worry about losing your job or paying your mortgage, your rent, or putting food on the table. You know, I understand the challenges that working families are going through because I live them, and they are my priority, working families, and will always be. I feel my opponent is out of touch with what's happening with working families. So I will begin with starting with the bill that was vetted in the House, and we'll move forward, and I will, as governor, make paid family medical leave a reality.
If I'm in the service industry or something like that, making $30,000 a year, how much money is coming out of my paycheck if I opt
Well,
in?
the plan in the House was $5 coming out of your, I believe it's $5 a month, and you have a 6-week leave, and you have a percentage of your, a 0.6%, 7% of your salary. You know, when you mention businesses and industries, I have been meeting and talking with businesses, and this is, they believe, is a win-win for both. They're committed to their employees and want to make paid family medical leave available to them, and want to partner and collaborate so that we can make sure that this legislation does get through the House and the Senate, and as governor, I will pass it into law.
This week, or last week, I should say, my colleague John DeStaso broke a story about a top Democratic Party official calling out the victim, the alleged victim in the Jeff Woodburn domestic violence case for posting comments critical of Senator Woodburn on the Coos County Democrats Facebook page. It then came to light that several other top Democrats have been liking or sort of endorsing Jeff Woodburn's campaign statements on his Facebook page. Steve Shurtleff, the minority leader of the House, Senator Martha Fuller Clark, and others. The official position, of course, is that Senator Woodburn should resign, but clearly some people might want to see this both ways. Democrats set a very high standard in the Kavanaugh hearings. We've talked about that before. Isn't the right thing to do here not just to call on Jeff Woodburn to resign, but to denounce his candidacy and call on voters in the North Country to vote for anyone else, whether write-in, leave it blank, or even the Republican, anyone who's not facing charges for violence against a woman?
Well, I have been really clear, and from the very beginning, I called on Senator Woodburn to resign. I called on his to resign, and I also was assured by the state party that they were not supporting his candidacy. I did not support his candidacy, and will not, as we move through this. So I've been very, very clear. I have no tolerance for assault or any kind of harassment.
So should voters in the North Country vote for anyone but Woodburn?
The voters always decide who they're voting for. But I will be very clear that I have no tolerance. And I believe in, I've said this before, I believe in women. I believe what they're saying. It takes a lot of courage. I trust them, and I stand with women.
You said repeatedly that you oppose broad-based taxes, but you do want to increase the business profits tax. Are there any other taxes that would be going up as you try to fund particular programs?
No, I have been clear with the voters that I do not support, and I will veto a sales or an income tax. In the Senate, I did vote for tax cuts for small businesses, entrepreneurs, and also startups here in New Hampshire, and as governor, I would do the same.
Gas tax, for instance?
You know, right now, I believe that we are where we need to be, and what I want to do is to move forward and invest in education, in job training, and make college affordable so that we can have, as I said, a growing economy that is sustainable, and that's my focus in this election, Adam.
The U.S. Navy has already said it's thinking about how to protect its coastal assets in terms of the changes that could come with climate change. The Portsmouth Naval Shipyard would be something in that regard. What are some of the specific steps you would take as governor to try to make similar protections on the seacoast to sort of mitigate the impacts of climate change?
Sure. I believe that climate change is real, and that we have to work urgently for action, and have in the Senate, when I was in the Senate, to do that, and I would do the same. I was a strong leader moving forward with renewable energy so that we do have clean air, clean water, and worked collaboratively with businesses to do that, and would do the same on the seacoast as well. It's important. We value and we pride ourselves in New Hampshire on our environment. It is a part of our economy. It defines our quality of life, and I would move forward, as I did in the Senate, to work collaboratively with all parties so that we can move forward to protect our environment and provide the clean air and clean water that we need.
You'll be attending a fundraiser with Hillary Clinton in Boston. Why didn't she want to come to New Hampshire?
Well, you know, it was her idea to support and to help me win in this campaign. She's been very supportive, and I'm proud to have supported Hillary Clinton, and I am grateful for her coming to Boston and meeting with me.
Is there any issue you view differently, or any assumption you carried with you into this campaign that has changed or evolved through meeting with and interacting with the people of New Hampshire?
I have to say almost the opposite. You know, I feel like after meeting with so many people and having the honor to go through the state and to campaign as governor, that I feel even stronger that my values, my decisions, my vision for the future is exactly in line with the people of New Hampshire.
All right. Senator Molly Kelly, we appreciate your time. We'll